everybody, Angel Arts here, and welcome to yet another character analysis of Dragon Age Inquisition characters in the upcoming BioWare game. Today, we are going to be talking about Cassandra. Now, Cassandra, as you know, was first introduced to us in Dragon Age 2, but because we never really got a chance to control her in a party, many people were suspecting that in the next installment of the Dragon Age series, people were predicting that Cassandra could very well be a companion, a follower, or at minimum play a strong role in Dragon Age Inquisition. And when the earliest trailers for Inquisition was released, and it was confirmed, if not through the trailer, but in articles thereafter, that Cassandra was confirmed that Cassandra was indeed going to be a companion. A lot of fans, as you can tell, were rejoicing, myself included. I admit that when I started playing Dragon Age 2, I didn't particularly care for Cassandra, especially, and a lot of it is because of my partiality towards Varric, how much I really like Varric, so if Cassandra is giving him a hard time, I might not particularly care for her character as much. But I think through the uh, through the years since Dragon Age 2, especially now with all of the Dragon Age Inquisition news that's been coming out, I've really started to respect Cassandra more and more. Her character profile online on the main webpage, though of noble birth, Cassandra Pentecost turned her back on a life of wealth and privilege to join the Seekers of Truth. The Ancient Order serves as a watchful eye over corruption and magical threats. Granted ultimate authority in its investigations by the Chantry, or it did, prior to abandoning their duty in response to the Mage Rebellion. That's where, of course, we saw Cassandra and Liliana with Varric in Dragon Age 2. Cassandra did not join her brothers in this, instead remaining loyal to Divine Justinia and her efforts to restore order in the face of chaos. She is both pious and driven, the sword in the right hand of the Divine, seeking justice above all else. Whereas Liliana is the left hand of the Divine, Cassandra is the right hand, as they said. And what I really love about Cassandra is that she is such a strong female character. I mean, in general, what I love about BioWare games and, Mass Effect and Dragon Age is the sheer amount of strong female characters in their games, and Cassandra is no exception. Like, right from the introduction of Dragon Age 2, you can tell this woman means business. And she is not one to be trifled with, especially when you're dealing with someone like Varric, who is very much, an easygoing guy, likes to play, likes to make jokes and wit, and Cassandra just does not have the time for that. And I love that dynamic between the two of them. And so when it was announced that not only Cassandra was coming back, but Varric was coming back, it made sense. And I'd like to believe that since then, a lot of their differences have been ironed down, but they still are going to be butting heads. And I mean, it's hard when you went through that interrogation. I think it's kind of hard for people to let bygones be bygones. Uh, Especially because, I mean, that was not a short story. The story of the Champion of Kirkwall was anything but short, so being stuck in that room for that long with someone, I'm sure, was not the most pleasant experiences. But yeah, I like how Cassandra breaks the mold of, the strong, tankish warriors are not always men. And, the mages or ranged archer fighters are not always women. I mean, obviously in Dragon Age 2, Aveline was a very strong character, and she was a tankish rolled character. But I still think that there is a difference, a good decent amount of difference between Aveline and Cassandra. There's definitely a lot of similarities. They're both very strong women, and they both fight for what they believe is right. But I think that Cassandra has a little bit of a different flavor with Aveline. Aveline has sort of she has this edge of bitterness to her personality, and I think a lot of it has to do with what happens to her husband at the beginning of Dragon Age 2. And with Cassandra, we don't know that much about her backstory, but I think she is more. I think she's less about drama. Not that Aveline was big on drama, but she definitely was big on drama when it came to people like Donick. And I don't think Cassandra is going to be like that. So it'll be cool to see what a different, strong woman is going to be like. If you've read the Asunder series, Evangeline, again, is another amazingly awesome, strong female character who also was a warrior. I'm not going to give away more than that for those of you who are going to read the book. But yeah, Cassandra, I'm very excited to have joined the ranks of female warrior characters, strong female warrior characters in Inquisition. One thing that I like about Cassandra, as David Gator, who also wrote her character, is that while she does what she believes is right and just, um, she is, I think, a law-abiding. I mean, as with her personality, she is a law-abiding citizen, but she doesn't follow / uphold the law for the sake of it being a law. Like, she recognizes, David Gator said, Cassandra does what she believes is right and just and holds those values as more important than things like law or duty. So I think she is a very lawful person, and she is a very dutiful person, but she's not afraid to question things. She's not afraid to question the laws if it doesn't really fit with what she believes is right. And I like that about her character, that she's not blindly following the law because it's the law. Like, she has a mind of her own of what she thinks is just and right. And she tries to stay true to that, even if it might break a few of the rules a little bit. So I think it's going to be interesting. I love the complexity of these characters and how they're not just black and white. And Cassandra, I think, is a very fine example of that. And I'm looking forward to that scene with her and the Inquisitor. If you were watching some of the trailers as of late, where she finds the Inquisitor, because you discover the Inquisitor gets discovered near the beginning of the story, coming out of the Fade or emerging from the Fade, after or during this big giant blast that kills all of these people. And Cassandra, understandably so, is very suspicious of the Inquisitor. She says, she says something along the lines of, from where I'm standing, you are the only threat that I see. And that is, I think, knowing her personality, she would do that. And I'm glad that there actually might be some tension between her and the Inquisitor at the beginning, because it'd be really just interesting to see how the Inquisitor and Cassandra's relationship develops over time, starting from that situation that happens when they first meet. So again, it's a little bit like watching Varric and Cassandra's relationship from the first time that they meet, because she does little by little throughout the course of him telling her the story, she little by little becomes more than cordial to Varric at the very end. So yeah, that's something I'm really excited to see. Cassandra is a straight romance. They did confirm her heterosexuality. Again, I have no issue with that whatsoever. I know some people were questioning whether or not she might possibly be bisexual or even lesbian. People were saying, they were arguing that there was this one part at the end of Act 2 where Varric is telling Cassandra about how the warden manage to defeat the Qunari, if you choose to do this, defeat the Qunari on one-on-one combat. And regardless of whether you're male or female, Cassandra seems to really admire the champion, and she says it's, you know, that whole situation, that fight between the two of them, to her felt so romantic. So I think that's why people thought maybe she could possibly be bisexual. I could see it, but I wasn't gonna hold my breath on that. And I think other people might be playing on stereotypes because, again, she is a very strong, arguably butch woman. Not really, though, because I think she has some very feminine, non-classically considered butchy, you know, traits as well. So again, I mean, stereotypes are stereotypes. So, but yeah, I think that I'm perfectly okay with Cassandra being straight. I might romance her at some point. I mean, I'll make it a point to try to romance all 8 of the romances if I could. Realistically, I probably won't. And if not, I'm sure I can live vicariously through David slash Reclusi arc, because I'm pretty sure he's got his heart set on romancing Cassandra, so maybe I can live vicariously through him in what a Cassandra romance is like. In terms of how she gets along with other people, there are characters that she sees eye to eye with, such as the Iron Bull, Vivienne, but even with them, there are particular points that might cause some butting of heads a little bit. Of course, there's also some characters with whom Cassandra does not get along with, and again, given her personality, that will definitely cause some tension. Again, especially with the Inquisitor at the very beginning, like I mentioned before. You learn a bit about Cassandra's background in Dragon Age Dawn of the Seeker. So, spoiler alert for those of you who haven't read Dawn of the Seeker, but you learn during that story that that Cassandra, at least near the earlier years, had a bit of a hatred towards mages because her brother, Anthony, was murdered by blood mages. And since then, she's had issues with all mages, Maleficar or not. I don't think she necessarily still holds that prejudice in the current time frame in Dragon Age Inquisition, but I'm sure that's probably going to be play a role in some form or other. Maybe she might even mention it or in dialogue. Perhaps if you romance her, she might open up a little bit about that in some of the events that took place in Dawn of the Seeker. Mary Kirby describes her as an extremely crusty baguette. I really love all these. I gotta say, I really love all these food analogies, because I think a lot of them, as soon as they say them, I'm like, okay, I can see that. I can see that for a person personality-wise. And being the foodie that I am, of course, I appreciate that, definitely. Again, through Cassandra, it'll be interesting to find out more about the Seekers in general, because, again, I think you learn just the tip of the iceberg about who the Seekers are and the unique situation they actually find themselves in now with Dragon Age Inquisition, since all of these factions are breaking away from the Circle. Yeah, I think Cassandra will be an invaluable source, another invaluable window towards that specific organization. That's my character analysis of Cassandra. Tune in next time for another character analysis. Until then, everybody, love yourselves and love each other.